My new book, Pillars for Life, A Guide to Spiritual Ethics and Practice, is now out and available for you to read and purchase. You can check out our website, willowhealing.org, to find a link, or you can find it on Amazon. We look forward to getting your feedback, and if you love it, please leave a review and share with your friends. Now it's time for the show. Welcome to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We are so excited to have you joining us on this journey where we explore different ways to empower your soul, whether it's healing in your kitchen or all the way up in the corporate world. Come with us as we look into different ways to heal your mind, body, and soul. Hey everyone, it's Catherine from Willow Healing, and today I am here with the lovely Tenya Eickenberg. She is an energy healer and certified self-care coach with over a dozen transformational tools in her toolkit and a heart as bright as a beach sunrise. After navigating her own healing journey through anxiety and depression, Tenya found what traditional treatments missed: the power of energy alignment and deep soul-rooted self-care. So a big welcome to the show, Tenya, and I'm excited to see where we go.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me.
So, I guess if you feel open to, I feel to ask you a bit about your journey and how, you went from anxiety to depression into stepping into this self-care space.
Yeah. So, 2018, our family was having probably the most spectacular year that we had had up to that point. Like everything was working in our favor at every turn. My husband and our oldest daughter was graduating from college. Our twins were graduating from high school. We got the opportunity to purchase our forever home in this beautiful community that we had been wanting to move back to. And we had always said that when the twins graduated, we wanted to move back. February of 2018, we were approached by some friends of ours who were like, "Hey, we're moving out of the community. Do you want to buy our house?" And we're like, "If we can make it work, yes." And so it just started. Everything fell into place by um September. We had our house on the market. We sold it in October. We moved into our new house in November. And it was just so easy. It was just like, when everything is just flowing, it's just
Yeah.
easy. 2018 was easy. Then 2019 hit, and I was no longer a busy mom of high school seniors. They had their own jobs, they had their own cars. I didn't have to worry about grades and lunches and all that stuff. My health started to take a bit of a decline, and I got the opportunity or work allowed me to work from home a couple days a week. And so I was working from home 2 days a week, going in for three. And it was just a lot. There was just a lot going on. And with it being winter, there wasn't a lot of community collaboration going on, like meeting up with friends and stuff like that, because it was winter, and you don't go to the beach during the winter when there's 30 degrees outside or snow on the ground. And so for the 2019, I pretty much tried to self-medicate. I started smoking again. I started drinking more, unhealthy, just kind of trying to push everything away because I didn't want to deal with it, because where I thought it was coming from, I did not want to deal with the people that I thought was causing the problem. I finally decided that around February or March of 2020, right before COVID happened, I was like, gosh, I need some help, because I was on the verge of running my vehicle into a telephone pole,
Mhm.
because I was just so done with feeling the way I was feeling. I could not get out of it no matter how hard I tried. And so I went the traditional routes to start, called doctor, got a prescription, went to see a therapist. 6 to 8 weeks later, went back. I was like, I'm feeling numb. Like, I'm not really sad anymore, but like, I'm not happy either. And they're like, well, let's up your medication. And I was like, no, now we're done. I'm
Yeah.
not going to do that. Although I didn't tell them that. I told them, okay, I let them call in the prescription. I never went to go pick up the prescription. I canceled my appointments with the therapist because it was the same routine. It was the same, right out of the same book.
Talk
And
therapy
while
loop.
I yeah, and while I understand where they're coming from and that they have a process and a procedure that they have to do, it was not quick enough for me. And in this day and age, we want quick results. And so I yelled to the universe, sitting there at my desk crying. I was like, God, Lord, universe, I don't care who's listening. Give me something that's going to get rid of this. But I didn't want to ingest anything. I didn't want to take supplements because I'd been down that road. I didn't want to take medications, been down that road. And so I went to Google after that, and I was just like, holistic emotional healing. Like, I knew it was emotional. I knew that much because it was anxiety and depression. I knew that those were emotions. And up to this point, my only interaction with energy work was like acupuncture and in The Secret. Like, I had an understanding of the law of attraction. And so this modality called the emotion code popped up. And I was like, okay, not quite sure what that is, but okay. I mean, it was I think there was Reiki and there might've been a couple other things, but like, that was what I like honed in on. And so I started looking at it and doing my research, and I was like, huh. All right, so it's this modality of using what I had no idea what muscle testing was at the time, to find trapped emotions in my body and then swipe across the top of my head to release them.
Like this, if
Okay.
anyone's wondering. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just over the top of the head, just swiping away the anxiety and the depression and whatever. And I was just like, okay. I was quite skeptical. I was like, because my belief system, even though I didn't want to take something physical, my belief system was that I still had to take something physical in order for me to heal, in order for me to feel better. And I was like, what do I have to lose if I try this? A few $100s. And that was small potatoes compared to how I was feeling. And so I found a practitioner online. And I wound up signing up for a session with his wife because she was getting her certification. So like, I wasn't just getting the emotion code, I was getting the body code too. And after that session, I was like, because all I did was sit on the phone and listen. I didn't have to do anything. I was like, well, this is weird. This is interesting. But I felt better. And I was like, well, is this really working, or is it the placebo effect? Do I want it to work? Do I want it to work so bad that it's working? And at that point, I was like, I don't care. But then after a few days, it started coming back, or what I thought it was coming back. I started feeling the anxiety and depression again. And I was like, oh, maybe it's not working. Well, let me try again. So I tried again. I tried a different practitioner because maybe it was the practitioner, right? We make all these different reasons as to why something's not working. So I tried another practitioner and I felt better afterwards. And I was like, okay, maybe it's not the placebo effect. And if it is, I don't care. It's working. And then started to resurface again. I was like, God damn it. What's going on? And through my research, I found that we all have layers. We have layers of emotional trauma. We have layers of things that we've been through. And this is where I started going down the rabbit hole of past lives and different timelines and different dimensions and entities and all this other stuff. And so my mind was just going, I was flabbergasted. And Discover Healing, who does the certification for the emotion code, body code, and belief code, they were holding a webinar, an online conference, because by this time COVID had shut everybody down. So nobody was doing conferences anymore. And it was a third of the price because they didn't have to rent out a venue and you didn't have to fly anywhere. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to sign up for this. If I'm going to use this modality, whether it's with somebody else or for myself, I'm going to, I want the whole kit and caboodle. I want to know everything. And the easiest way to do that was to sign up and go to this conference and to hear it from the horse's mouth. Dr. Bradley Nelson was going to be presenting all this stuff, right? By the end, I was like, I'm getting my certification. So I was like, why do I need to go to someone else when I can learn to do this myself? It looks so easy. I can do this.
I love this, Tina. It's like, it's easy. It must be easy.
I thought it was going to be easy.
I'm laughing because if anyone's been on an emotional healing journey, if you ever think it's going to be easy, it never is.
No, no, no. But I was like, again, I'm a go big or go home kind of girl. And so that's what I did. I signed up for the certification and I immediately started practicing my muscle testing, which of course, if you don't muscle test, when you start muscle testing, you constantly question, am I getting the right answers? Are these the right answers? Because there's your own influence of what answers you want. And so you really have to stop and learn who you are and what it is that you really want to know. And are you okay with knowing the truth of your subconscious? And that was
Yeah.
so new to me to really just like, who am I? I mean, by this time I was 43, 44, something like that. And it's like, how do I not know who I am right now? But I didn't. So I got my certification in the emotion code. Then I went to the body code. And then I found this modality called the Easy Entity Release. It's now called the Healing Remembered app. And with those three things, just daily working on myself, clearing energy, just finding all these things that were attached or contributing to or causing my anxiety and depression. And by, gosh, I think it was probably like October, November, I was about 80% feeling really good. I still had very deep moments, very trying moments. And I was determined to, at the time, to fix those. I don't say fix anymore, but at the time, that's where I was. I was like, I need to fix this because I still had this fear of the depression and the anxiety taking over. And I did not want it to come back. I didn't want it to take over. I didn't want to survive with it anymore. And that's when self-care came into the picture. So a lot of people do the self-care first, right? They get into the meditation and journaling and all that stuff, and they do that kind of stuff first. And then they get into other stuff. Me, no, I went big first. And then I got into the self-care stuff, which is what I should have been doing all along. But once I know now that I had to clear a bunch of stuff. I had to clear some blocks that were not necessarily clearing blocks to self-care, but clearing those blocks allowed me to see that I needed to do the self-care, that I needed to add meditation into my life, that I needed to journal, that I needed to learn how to set boundaries and start reparenting myself and forgive my parents for the way that I was raised and to see them in a different light. And
Yeah.
so once I started adding in all of that self-care, it was like the anxiety and depression they were gone. And it's not to say I don't still worry, I don't still get sad, but I'm not sitting in those feelings. I'm not falling victim to that heaviness anymore. And for me,
Yeah.
it's relieving
Yeah.
because it was so heavy
Because
for
you've
so
stepped
long.
out of, yeah. And you stepped out of that victim mindset and then,
Yeah.
choosing to claim your power back, right? Right, this is still there. And the best thing I've ever been taught is that your flaws, your triggers, your wounds, they never go away. You can never fully fix them, but you learn to understand them better and embrace them.
Right.
So then when they do start to come up, then you can say, like you said, you can be sad or you can have that worry for a little bit, but you also know how to pull yourself back quicker and easier so that you can go back to living your best life.
Right. It's more now I'm allowing the feelings to come. I'm allowing the feelings to process, which is
Rather
what
than
we as
depressing them.
humans are supposed to be doing, but what we're not taught, right? We're not taught to have our feelings. We're taught to suppress them. We're taught to push them down. And that's how we're taught to to experience them. But
Yeah.
when we do
Which
that, they
ends up
build up.
in depression. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Exactly.
So yeah, so
Exactly.
this past weekend I had 2 days of just God, I was feeling awful. I was definitely feeling depressed. And the first day I was like, you know what? I'm going to be human today. I don't want to do any energy work. I don't want to just get rid of it. And which was very um weird to think that no, I don't want to get rid of this today. And then the next day I was like, okay, it's still here. Okay, well, maybe today I'll take a look at it. And I took a look at it and I realized I knew what it was. I knew where it was coming from. I addressed it on an energetic level. I spent some time at the beach. I woke up the next day and I was 100 times better because I let
Wow.
myself feel it. I let myself experience it. I let myself work through it in my own way and I let it go. And it was an absolutely just beautiful feeling that I was able to do that. I was so when you can do something like that you haven't done ever, that you can ever remember. It's incredibly empowering to know that, oh gosh, I can have these feelings and I can cry to my husband and he'll hold me and it's okay. It's okay for me to be human and be frustrated and to not see the other perspective for 10 or 15 minutes and to just woe is me. But then have those tools to be able to say, I can come out of it.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's where your power comes in, right? Because we're all here having a human experience. And like exactly like you said, Tina, we need to feel, we need to actually embody the emotion and feel it. Because the more you ignore it, the more that it will end up as dis-ease in your body and it will come out a bigger way. And it might be that you end up in chronic depression. It might be that you end up because you're constantly pushing down the fear with constant UTIs and kidney infections and things like that. And it's, you know, our body is there to give us, it's the greatest wisdom holder, right? It has so much knowledge and wisdom in it that we don't even realize to tap into. And if we let ourselves feel it and sit in it, like you said, and then figure out how to engage in those self-care practices to help process the emotion and be that compassionate inquiry with ourselves, then it helps you step out of it quicker and it helps you embrace who you need to be in that moment.
Yeah. And it would be wonderful if more people could get to that point where they feel safe doing that. But I don't think, I think 99% of the human race does not feel safe having their emotions, which is really
Which
sad.
is, yeah, and it's really interesting too because everyone's talking about AI, but I always say, you know, the difference between a human and a computer is that we actually have the emotional experience. And then people are like, oh, but they're creating AI emotional things. It's like, yes, but they'll never be having your experience. That is the
Right.
difference because we all have unique experiences and we all have unique emotions and unique, like you said, unique energies around us and unique ancestral lines and unique, we are
Yep.
unique. That's your
Yeah.
superpower. No one else is like you.
Yep. Yeah, we are. Each one of us. And everybody, if anybody went through the same path that I did, it would have been a completely different experience.
Yes.
Every time I work with a client, I have never had any client come up with the same energies in the same way with the same problem.
Yep.
It's just not that predictable.
No, it's not. And I can relate this because my background's a speech language pathologist and I had a lot of children with autism spectrum disorder on my caseload. And the parents would often say to me, oh, thank you for not putting them in a box. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, so many people just think because they have autism that they, you know, present this certain way or they'll be that certain thing. But they're little humans. They each have their own things that have happened and they present differently. Yes, they have this label. You know, it might be anxiety, it might be depression, it might be autism, whatever it is. But in the end, your unique soul experience and your emotions and things you go through are still there underneath, shaping how that comes out in your expression and how that is shared out in the world.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. And since then I have gone through a few different ego deaths and dark night of the souls and lots of shadow
One
work
round, one, two,
and
three, four, five.
yeah, Yeah, I mean it's never ending. I had someone ask the question, are you addicted to healing? And I was like, addicted to healing? No. Part of it is because it's my job. Healing is I'm an energy healer and a self-care coach. So part of my job is to continue to go deeper into my own healing, to look for things that I can learn from so that I can help clients who come to me in the future, who may come to me with those similar issues that I am currently dealing with.
Which they
It would
do
be,
because of the
if
law
I
of
was a nurse,
attraction.
I would,
Yeah.
right. If I was a nurse, I'd be going to get more education as a nurse. So, will I ever be done healing? Probably not. Am I okay with
Yeah.
that? Yes, I am, because it's part of my job.
That is that is such an interesting question to be asked, Tina, that if you're addicted to healing. And I would say if someone asked me that, I would say, no, I'm curious about what else we have to learn because, you know, you never there's so many people, there's billions of people in this world, and we all have our unique experience, our unique gifts, and everything that we go through that allows us, but you'll never know everything. We're not meant to know
Right,
everything. We're meant to
right.
connect with people and learn from other people. Or I'm not going to try and do acupuncture on a person. I'm going to say, hey, I really found this amazing acupuncturist, go check them out,
Yep.
or and sometimes that can be our role in itself, because there's different levels of healing, and knowing what's your genius zone versus not your genius zone is part of that experience too.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. And I love to like addicted to healing. I feel like that's what we should
Yeah.
call the episode, but I'm not going to call it that. But but it's so interesting because it's my curiosity that led me to awakening my spiritual gifts, that led me to awakening, tapping more into my intuition. It's the
Yeah.
curiosity about learning what people do, but then that also allows me to connect people with the right people, because I can't do everything, and I know I can't do
No.
everything, which has been one of my
Yeah.
lessons too. And
Yeah.
so if that makes me addicted to healing, then so be it, because I'm up for the wild ride. I'm up for the curiosity. I'm up for the learning. Like, let bring it, see what happens. And the universe will probably open up something, but I'm going through a lot right now. So I'm like, yeah, why not? Just keep bringing it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I tell my clients all the time, I said, I want to work myself out of a job with you. Like I want to get to the point where you don't need me anymore, and you need to
Yes,
go on to somebody else who can do whatever it is that is in next in your path. I,
that's
I
such a
don't
beautiful
want to be able
sentiment.
to do everything. That'd
Yeah.
be exhausting,
And
wouldn't
you
it?
exactly, but also to empower the person and the soul enough to get to that point, Tina, where they can go, wow, you've helped me so much. And I know for me that I have that relationship with my spiritual mentor where we got to this point, and I still remember our last session, and we just both intuitively knew that was it. Like, that was,
Yeah.
she gotten me to where she needed to, but she's still there, and I know that I can reach out to her if I have a
Yep.
question or if I feel pulled to. But it's not that, okay, you're not like, it's a different relationship now. And that's kind of what happens when you empower people, and that shift happens. And it comes back to that, this keeps coming up today, but people come into your life for a reason, a season, a lifetime, a cycle, or a lifetime, and
Hmm.
if you can just be for a season or a cycle, or whatever it is, you
Yeah.
just accept that, and you know that you did everything you could to help that person or empower that person through that point in their life.
Most definitely. And that is the goal, is to empower our clients to be able to understand how powerful they are in their own right as their own healers,
Yeah,
because
100%.
we have that power. We just it's taken away from us the moment we're born, right? It's the moment we start following in our parents' footsteps. Unless our parents are consciously aware that we have that power, it's immediately taken away from us. And then it's taken away from us when we go to school, when we go to the doctors, when we go to work. It's constantly taken away from us. And
Exactly. And
it's empowering when we
and
can get it back.
yeah, and even I had a client this morning, and I always trust divine timing, right? And the thing that left when we finished our conversation was she's like, thank you for getting me, because she's like, no one else would, like, you just understood straight away what I was doing. And I was like, yeah, I hear you, and so often we have those conversations, but we don't really listen. And I think
Yeah,
sometimes that can be such a big thing too. And even listening to ourselves can be such a powerful thing as well.
most definitely. And that's something that going through this healing journey allowed me to be able to do. And some people may think, my gosh, well, you're in your 40s, you're kind of late learning who you are and listening to yourself. I'm like,
No, it's never too
but if
late.
I was never taught to listen to myself, then how would I know to listen to myself? I wouldn't.
Yeah, I feel like we only know what we know until we don't. And then when you know better, you choose to do better. But if you choose
Right.
not to do better, then that's on you, because you
Yes.
now
Yeah.
know that
Yeah.
there's a better way.
Yeah. You don't know what you don't know. And I've often told people when I talk about forgiving my parents, I didn't have a horrible upbringing, but I had an upbringing that um my parents were not emotionally stable. I wouldn't say stable. They just weren't emotionally intelligent. And in forgiving them, even if they had been given different knowledge, they may not have been equipped enough to accept that knowledge. So even if Dr. Spock himself knocked on their door and said, "You need to learn how to have some emotions," they probably would have looked at him and go, "I don't know who you are. Get off my stoop." And that would have been it.
And yeah, and that's the culture too
Yeah.
that was brought up. It's like, don't cry. Like all those sorts of things that we got told. Oh,
Yeah.
big girls don't cry. Only girls cry. Like there's just so many things about even
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
crying, to the point where you feel like there's something wrong if you have to cry. When it's like, no,
Hmm.
that's one of the healthiest and quickest ways to heal that emotion is to cry.
Yeah. I just literally recorded a solo episode on the mother wound today on my podcast. And I was talking about how having those big feelings and being told, don't cry, was just my parents telling me that it was not safe to have feelings. It was not
Mm.
safe to have those feelings. And that's where I had started to create that mother wound and that father wound, was when I didn't feel safe being able to cry or laugh or get mad. It just
Yeah.
we grew up in a world where it was not safe to voice what was going on inside. I'm so glad that we're
Exactly.
getting working towards getting away from that.
Mm.
And
And
I
that's,
I hope that as the generations go on, that it continues to filter down.
yeah, same, same, like, and that's the biggest thing. My husband and I, with our little one, we catch ourselves, right? Like, it's like, no, you can actually have that feeling. We're not discounting that feeling, and not to default back into how we were brought up, which is, you don't talk about it. You don't feel it. You don't go. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is break down in front of your children, especially young
Mhm.
children, and let them know it's okay to do that, because
Yeah.
that is empowering them and allowing them to understand that the human experience is going through emotions. That's just part of being
It
human.
Yes, and I will tell you that now all of my kids are adults. My oldest is will be 29 in August. My twins are 25. And I did a lot of repeat patterns that I grew up with when they were little, because at the time I didn't know better. And I admit that I don't like it, but that's what I knew. But even them being adults now, they are still learning from us. They are still
Exactly.
learning from us being vulnerable. And it still teaches them, even as adults, that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to cry in front of your significant other. It's okay it's okay for my 25-year-old son to cry if he needs to.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing, if anyone's listening, when you do the work on you, it ripples through. It
It
doesn't
does.
matter what age your kids are, or if, even if you have grandkids, when you do the work on yourself, it actually does cause this energetic ripple that goes through generations. And it's such a beautiful reminder because it can make doing this work when you think it's really hard and it gets really tough.
Hmm.
And sometimes you need to understand and grip onto something. I know as a mum, you do anything for your kids, right? So it's like, well,
Yep.
I'm not doing it just for me. I am doing it for me first, but I'm also doing it for them. And it just helps,
Right.
gives you that extra bit of motivation to keep going, especially when you're up to round 3 of your dark night of the soul or whatever it might be.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
definitely makes it more palatable
Yes.
when you can tell yourself, oh, I'm doing this for my kids. I'm doing this
Exactly.
for their future kids. And it does
So do it
also
for you
ripple
first.
back. Right.
Yes.
But it does also ripple back. I have seen shifts in my
With your
dad
parents. Yeah.
over my healing journey. And even, well, I mean, even with my mom, I mean, even though I don't have much of a relationship with them, it's a healthy relationship for me. And it's
Exactly.
much different than it was 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
there are, while it's not happy go lucky and, we talk on the phone all the time, it's cordial. And that's all I can ask for right now. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And, it's meeting people where they're at as well, because we can't
Yeah.
always expect, when we go through massive transformations and have quantum leaps and everything else, sometimes it takes a while for people to catch up with and go on their own journey. And, it is how it
Yeah.
is. And it's accepting
Yeah.
that that's their journey and this is my journey. And, sometimes that's the best thing you can do too.
It is. It is. Especially when when you start to realize that. Was not something I realized in the beginning of my journey. I was like, come along, come on. Come with me.
No, we'll
And they're
plant
like,
seeds. You
no,
can plant seeds
no,
throughout the
no, no.
seeds. Exactly.
We all
Yeah,
learn.
exactly. Um, and as we start to finish our time together, Tina, I ask the guests that come on the show if there was something you could heal or change in the world, what would it be?
I would ask people to be more kind. Like stop dividing our world and just be kind to everybody. Just let everybody be who they are, who they want to be. They're not hurting anybody. Just be kind.
Yeah, beautiful. And where can people find you, Tina, if they want to come and connect with you or work with you?
My website is designyourexistence.com and Facebook and Instagram. Social is at designyourexistence.
Beautiful. And I'll make sure to put that in the show notes as well so everyone can find you. But thank you, Tina, for sharing your journey and unpacking emotions and talking about emotions, because it definitely needs to happen more.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I've had fun.
All right. Thank you for listening to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We have so much love and gratitude that you have taken the time out of your day to empower you on your healing journey. The views shared by the person being interviewed might not necessarily reflect that of the host and should be used at your own discernment. Trust what resonates for you and follow your heart and soul guidance. If you have any underlying medical conditions or mental health issues, please consult with your healthcare provider before pursuing any of the recommendations. Likewise, you can always contact the person being interviewed to find out more information. This can be found in the show notes. Remember to activate, align, heal, empower, and find love in everything that you do.